My name is Rodney Clark, and we got the name of the Oyster Man because of course, the oyster. My home is down in, I was born in Summerside, Prince Edward Island. I'd like to sort of tell you a little bit about what's coming up here. It's the film, and it's a really good example of east, west, middle, you know, even into some of the little areas you'd find exciting as you turn around the edge of the road or you walk over the edge of the hill. It's just a great representation of the overall land and character of Prince Edward Island. Well, there's the old saying, eh, covers the island like the dew. Enjoy it.
The Micmac Indians called it Abegoit, land cradled on the waves. Jacques Cartier said it was the fairest land 'tis possible to see. Now, over the years, many have come, many have settled, many just passed through, leaving reluctantly after just a week or two. But all have a story to tell, as if the island was their own.
You discover that there are really many islands within the island. The storytellers and the musicians and the songwriters are the ones who actually create the community, or at least give it its texture. And most of the stories that are told by islanders about other islanders. I mean, it was a great study of human nature. That's the way people figured out life, was by telling stories.
We wear those gloves to protect our hands mostly. Because when they grab a hold to you, they give you quite a bite, of course. This claw here now, it's not too bad. It's the okay, we get one here. This bigger claw here, that's the one that does the hurt. That one there, but this one here, you put your finger in there, it's not too bad. See? When you get bitten by a lobster, it seems like you lose your strength. You can't take it off. It just paralyzes you for some reason. You know, you grab you by the thumb there, and the more you try to get it off, the harder it hurts. And most times you end up breaking the claw off the lobster. There's no choice. The largest one I caught was about 10 pounds. About, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, I guess.
So what's so large?
Oh, I don't know, it'd be that long, I guess, and the claw be as wide as your two hands together, you know, the large claw. I wouldn't be fussed about eating a 10-pound lobster, but it'd be tough, I would say. Like, even between the canner-sized lobster, say, between this lobster and that lobster, this one tastes better. Smaller lobster tastes a lot better than this one. That's my opinion, and most say everyone's the same. Like most people, when they order lobster, especially a market lobster, they say, get me females if you can. They do taste better. You get your males and your females, and this is your female here, and this is your male lobster. But you're lucky enough to get one in trap today, one of each sex. The female tail is a lot wider here, and the male tail is thicker and narrow, and they have your things here. The female doesn't have them here. Okay, the easiest way to take the meat out of the claw, you break your knuckles off here, take the thumb off, and just lay it somewhere and just give a little tap with the knife, of course, like this. Okay, there we go. Just take your fork and pull it out. Crack your tail off, right here. Pull the fins off the back, just bend them back like that. And squeeze the shell here until it cracks, and you pry it open, like this. And there's the tail, ready to go. See? There's very few fishermen retire as an ordinary worker would retire. You know, you'd be surprised, there's a lot of fishermen out here 70 years old. As a matter of fact, there's a guy in Fortune, next harbour east there, I believe he turned 74 this year and he's still fishing. Oh, I'll be like most fishermen until they haul me out of the boat. I moved here in 71, I guess it was. And I just fell in love with it. As a matter of fact, I would never want to leave. You don't know what you're missing, boys.
Well, I love nature, and I was brought up near a national park, and I was brought up on a farm close to nature, and I enjoyed nature, the outdoors, and I thought this would be the closest thing to living with the animals and nature. Enormous amount of beaches, because you have the whole island is surrounded, of course, an island, so it's enormous. So wherever you drive, I mean, the beauty of it, you have the green fields and the farming, and then and all of a sudden you're driving, you think you're miles away from the beach, and you make a little turn and you see this beautiful beach or something, and there are really nice isolated beaches. Well, it changes all the time. Like when let's say you're walking, all of a sudden when you cross on the beach, it is like magic, because you don't know what to expect, because 2 days are never the same. You know, you might walk it one day and the beach looks one way, and then you walk it the next day, the sun is different, the wind, it could have been a storm. The beach can, you know, sometimes 3 or 4 feet of sand can be deposited over the whole length of the beach, where the day before you might have had all kinds of deposits, shells, all kinds of stuff. It's like a different world, you know. And if you walk on the north side of the beaches, usually you don't see anything but wilderness, and you can really freeze your mind, and you know it's as if you're out there and you look at the birds, and if it's just yourself especially, it's as if you're the only one out there, and it's like a different world, you know. People think it has to be a sunny day to walk on a beach, but on a cloudy day, you know, it's probably the nicest time. I see more beauty every year, and with the beach, I guess that's the key. There's always life, movement, and you can have your camera on, you can never take the same picture twice.
Well, hello and welcome back, and I just want to say that it's really simple to get to PEI. There's a couple of things you have to do. You've enjoyed what we've all seen and seeing. It's tremendous. All you have to dial is 1-800-463-4PEI. Now that's, you know, 1-800-463-4PEI. Hey, 4PEI. And then they'll send you up a package. So that's as easy as it is. It's the 800 number. A really nice voice on the end of the line, friendly, informative, ask you a few questions, tell you a few answers, and all of a sudden you're as good as in the car. All the folks there, they're tremendously interested in servicing you, like making sure you have a really nice stay. That's the thing about the island, is they like to have you really enjoy yourself and really try to, you know, they go out of their way. All you have to dial is 1-800-463-4PEI.
Aspect and living aboard a sailboat and sailing, the quietness, the wind, just everything about it I love, and I think it's a wonderful way to relax and just makes you humble.
We started sailing in 1976, 77, about that time.
The first time John brought me sailing, we were on holiday in Hawaii, and I swore I'd never step foot on a sailboat again, so I think I have around 70,000 nautical miles under me now, which is not too bad for someone who wasn't going to go sailing again. We've crossed the Atlantic Ocean, what, four times, and we've been back and forth to the Caribbean several times, which we almost cross it in distance is like crossing the Atlantic again.
When you go into a harbor, any harbor, there's always a bunch of sailors around, and you have instant camaraderie. That's very nice.
We certainly try to go out of our way when a cruising sailboat like us comes into the harbor. All it takes is one perfect day, and you forget all the bad, and it just can put you so relaxed and so at ease, and just say, wow, why isn't everyone doing this? I guess is what I ask myself a lot of times, because it's fabulous.
One time we were away for 2 years. We went to the Mediterranean and Europe, and went into hundreds and hundreds of harbors. We came back to Prince Edward Island about this time of year. We sailed in that harbor mouth over there. On a day like this, the sun was shining, the grass was green, the fields were brown. It was the best, most gorgeous place we've ever seen.
Prince Edward Island has 11 golf courses, all of which fit into the mosaic of a golf destination. And Prince Edward Island, we feel, is a place where you can come and play. There is every type of golf course, parkland to links, that we now have completed here. And that gives the golfer a wide variety of choices. And all of the golf courses, the key ingredients are they are accessible, they are playable, and they're affordable. I'm responsible for 3 golf courses, the links at Crowbush Cove, Brudenell River Resort, and Mill River Resort. They are the 3 provincial courses. The other courses in the province range from Rustic Cove Resort to Green Gables to Belvedere. But I think that the links at Crowbush Cove can match any golf course in North America. It has the key ingredients of natural beauty, excellent design by Tom McBroom, and has great shot value. Shot value being that part that challenges you, but also gives you a fair reward for a good shot. That it's not trickery, that if you hit a 2-iron 200 yards in the middle of the fairway, it should stay there. It shouldn't roll down into a ditch. We have 4 daughters, and we're proud of them all. From the golfing standpoint, Lorie has had a great career to date. She's been a very good amateur. She started her golf on Prince Edward Island and continues to come back.
Well, I was introduced to the game when I was 5, and I've been playing competitive golf since I was 13, so I'm 29 now. So I've been playing golf quite a while. Being a member of the Canadian International Amateur Women's Team, I had the opportunity to travel abroad several times and play a lot of British courses. And I remember walking out on the links here at Crowbush the first time, and had I not known I was on PEI, I would have thought for sure that I was somewhere in England playing a British links golf course. It's a beautiful course. What I think constitutes a links golf course is, first of all, being built on the ocean and having the sculpture of the land with the sand dunes and things like that. That constitutes a real links course. But if I had to select the holes that are most difficult, I would say the par 3 6th, the par 3 8th, and the 11th hole, which is a par 5. It takes 3 very good shots to get to the green. And if I make 6 on that hole, to me, that's considered a par. To golf all 11 golf courses, you could probably get it done in a week. If you're an avid golfer, that's usually what you do. If you want to, the time's of the essence and you want to get all the golf courses in, it's easy to do. I've been a professional for a year ago, just May. Started playing for a living. My best score ever is 67. 76 at the links at Crowbush Cove.
My favorite part of the island is the coastline. no matter whether it's on the west coast of the island, the north, the south, the east coast, they're all different and they're all beautiful. The organization is the Island Nature Trust, and we're a land conservation group on Prince Edward Island. We go out and work with landowners to protect natural areas, or actually buy natural areas to keep them that way for future generations. I think all islanders do share a spirit of preservation. What we have, we value, and we want to protect it. And groups like the Island Nature Trust are working very closely with the Prince Edward Island government to protect the natural areas that we do have. I think one of the natural areas that Prince Edward Island can be most proud of are the sand dunes along our coast. But the problem is they're also very fragile. They look grassy and they look like they should have no problem surviving, but the sand is very easily disturbed by trampling. As many as 10 footpaths along the same track can cause the dune grass to break down, and when that happens, of course, the wind gets at the sand and starts to move the sand dune. So it's amazing that a habitat like this, in such a wind-blown environment, is actually very fragile when we interfere with it. Prince Edward Island has quite a few offshore islands that have what we call colonial nesting birds. This would be the various species of seagulls, common terns, great blue herons, 2 species of cormorants, and other marine birds that nest together in groups. They're colonial birds. They like to nest together in groups. This is their way of protection. And they need seclusion, though. They don't nest for the most part on the main island. They need areas where they can get peace and quiet. So we have these offshore islands that are fantastic in terms of the amount of bird life that's on them. I'm going to be here either until I'm taken away to Hennessy's funeral home, and then I suppose I'm here forever. I'll be planted here.
We're back. Wow. It caught me, yeah. Eating those little Malpecs now. We're seeing something here, and it's exciting to see that kind of fun in the land and the people, etc. It's really easy to get to PEI. Very easy. It's at 1-800-463-4PEI. 1-800-463-4PEI. And that's what you do. And then the friendly voice at the other end says, hi, how you doing? Thinking of coming to the island? Next thing you know, you get the package arranged, you get to review it in your mind. It's one of the nicest packages. They'll send you up, what they'll do is capture the film in the booklet, and they do it very, very well, putting names and addresses and, monies and all this sort of thing all together, and you can map out your vacation for anywhere from a day or 2 days or 3 days to a fortnight or longer. Just call us anyway. Ask us what the weather's like. 1-800-463-4PEI. Doesn't cost you anything.
Shaws were amongst the first English settlers that came to PEI in the summer of 1770. Of that family that arrived in Stanhope, which is just across 2 bays from us here, the Shaw on that boat had 2 sons, and one of his sons came here and cut out his homestead here in this property in the summer of 1793. So we have a very long history here. The hotel was started in the summer of 1860. So we opened up in the spring of 1860 with 5 rooms in the inn, which are still part of the original inn today. Where it stands today is basically the structure that was there in the summer of 1895. Over that time, the inside has changed numerous times, but the outside, the only changes to the outside is basically the paint. I guess one of my biggest surprises was the year I graduated, was in 1980. I was 22 years of age. I came home, and my dad said, well, I think that you're ready to take it over. I would say I have a tremendous will to want to maintain the reputation that Shaws have made in the hospitality business over the last 135 years. There's a lot of tradition on beachside hotels. There are still a few of them still existing today. Ourselves, for one, but there's other ones that are just close to us, one being Dalvey by the Sea. Dalvey by the Sea was actually a summer home of an American oil billionaire who built this place just for a place to come up to for a couple of months per year. That evolved into what they, in the 1920s, they had turned that over into the hotel restaurant operation that it is today. There are some places on the island that, you know, I go by and say, you know, this is the first time I've ever been here, and it's still, growing up here and being here all my life, sometimes I still get amazed as a resident of the PEI, what beauty we have here in the island. We have tons of it.
I actually don't collect stories. I just hear them and remember them, you know. Collection sounds very mechanical. I like to think of myself as just being part of that storytelling culture. And there are a lot of islanders who know just as many stories as I do. They're the people that tell me the stories, and I just happen to tell other people. The storytellers and the musicians and the songwriters are the ones who actually create the community, or at least give it its texture and its particular color. In those little communities where everyone was living in a short radius, people were feeding, storytelling-wise, were feeding off one another all the time. And it was their entertainment. And this is the thing, and before the clubs and before videos, people spent a lot of time entertaining one another by telling stories. And most of the stories that are told by islanders about other islanders. I mean, it was a great study of human nature. That's the way people figured out life, was by telling stories. We have such a very large Celtic population. This is the most Celtic place in North America. The percentage of Scots, Irish, Welsh, for instance, here, I think is probably higher than in any other province or state in North America. And of course, they brought that whole rich second sight, forerunner tradition here when they came. But those stories, I mean, those stories are common in most folk cultures. I mean, it was their way of coming to terms with the inexplicable. It was their way of coming to terms with the mysterious. They were good at it. A young fella told me one day what his great-grandfather used to say to him when he was a little boy. When he'd go for a visit, the old man would say, "Michael, do you have a story to tell me?" And when he'd confess that he didn't, the old man would say, "Oh, Michael, Michael, you should always have a story you can tell people." Well, I hope that I've always got a story to tell people.